Yo, listen up. I got a tale to tell about the four horsemen, you know them well. Real estate game, they rock it as you on. Disruption and change, that's their favorite song. First up is partnership, strength in numbers, bringing people together, breaking barriers and walls. Collaboration, that's their foundation. Building bridges, creating new combinations. Next is integrity, holding it down, do what's right, even when no one's around. Trusting their word, they walk the talk in the world of investment, they make their mark.
Nearly 7 out of 10 American households can't afford a new median-priced home. So in the United States, we've got rising home prices, rising interest costs. That number has continued to go up, and it's continued to put a toll on our U.S. counterparts. Affordability is a real issue. 87.5 million households. Roughly 70% of all U.S. households are unable to afford a new median-priced home. So what does that mean? What's that telling us? Well, let's take California out for a second, because the statistics are even worse in California. 70% of households cannot afford the price of a new median-price home in the U.S. Where do all these households go, or where do they stay? Yep, you get it. They're going to have to go to rental accommodations. They're going to have to go to apartment buildings. They're going to have to stay in places because they cannot afford to own their own homes. Here in Canada, we think the cost of housing is expensive. For Americans, they've not been used to these rising prices. They've not been used to the cost of housing being this expensive, because it's always been the American dream. But now here they are having to rent more and more. Look, here in Canada, we have seen more and more different rules and policies that have come into place where we are banning foreign investors in Canada. Now, on top of that, foreign investors have backed off. They've limited their investments in Canada because, quite frankly, the yields have lessened. So they've started going to different locations, most prominently into the States. It's part of what even starts to drive up pricing in the United States. But the reality is people are looking for investors, are looking for yield. They're looking for opportunity. Where can they get the best bang for their buck? And so you're seeing more and more foreign investors that would have spent money in Canada now going to the United States. But here's something that we're seeing probably not since the great financial crisis, where we are seeing more and more Canadians taking their investment dollars and taking them to the US, because you can get affordable income properties in the US as opposed to in Canada, thereby providing those homes for Americans. We're talking 87.5 million households available where people are looking to rent. That creates a real opportunity for Canadians to invest in the U.S. If you're looking for stable money, higher yields, we're seeing more and more Canucks headed south of the border.
New apartment construction is soaring across parts of the United States.
Yeah, and real estate experts say it is now on track to be, in fact, a 50-year high. More than 460,000 new units expected across the country this year. That's what it takes to break a record. That's according to a new report from Axios. But a current housing shortage is driving up costs right now for renters and for first-time home buyers. The report found that the majority of these new apartments are concentrated just a handful, 20 metro areas across the country, and most of the new units are luxury apartments.
There we go. That's the kick.
So there's a rental construction boom, so there's more things for people to rent. Does that decrease the cost of homes to buy for first-time buyers, or am I missing a connection there from Econ 101?
No, I mean, I think right now it's the tale of two different housing markets. You have what we spend a lot of time thinking about is how the pipeline, America's pipeline for people to go from renters to homeowners, is getting jammed up. You have home prices that continue to defy gravity and mortgage rates that are hovering near 2-decade highs. And yes, there are historic levels of apartments hitting the market, and economists will tell you that any type of building is a good thing when it comes to putting downward pressure on supply or on rent prices. But at the same time, that lack of affordability in the housing market has allowed demand for renting to stay strong. So we'll really have to keep an eye on, like in the report, certain parts of the country did see more housing get built than others, and rents are starting to fall at those high price points and in certain pockets of the country. But it'll be a minute before we start to see any widespread relief coming from this new apartment construction.
You know what's really great to notice is she talks about a tale of two cities, shall we say? Two different tales, and what we need to look at here is demographics, because throughout Western history, people that have come, whether it be to Canada or to the United States, have come primarily with the dream of owning their own home. Generation after generation has really had that as a dream, the American dream, with the family and the white picket fence. These have been the promises for the Western world. What we are seeing is a change in demographic, where the younger generations that could be going into housing are looking at it and looking at their parents and seeing, why do I want those troubles? Why do I want to be tied down to these locations? And more are interested in the availability of being able to get up and go whenever they want to. They're already looking at the pricing on housing, and they're thinking, why do I want to tie myself down to that? It seems unattainable anyways. And nobody seems to be happy, especially with a divorce rate that's about 50% or more and climbing. So you're finding more and more the younger generations are starting to opt out of buying houses and are looking more at luxury, or let's just call them higher scale rental units. So we are seeing an increase in nicer apartments. People are wanting to live in nicer apartments because they see it as more viable than putting all of their money towards a home that they're going to have to upkeep and be tied down to and maintain. And now they're looking at renting instead, giving themselves more options, more flexibility. Now, here's the one thing that we need to talk about with that. When you have money printing, when you have more and more, as they call it, excess liquidity in the system, it always gets soaked up by hard assets. And so we see the prices of gold, silver, housing, actual physical houses, apartment buildings. We see physical products actually going up against the dollars that are being devalued. That's what we're seeing, a tale of two cities, a tale of two demographics, as more and more apartments are being built for people that no longer want to own houses. What does that mean for rental accommodations? If you're looking at income properties, it means that we're going to have a healthy market where rents continue to go up because of demand. As we're seeing in all of the Western world, we are seeing more and more, whether it be legal or illegal immigration, we're seeing increases in immigration as our countries are allowing more and more people to come into the country, because a lot of people are not having kids anymore, and you have to have a way to keep that population base going up. And so they're allowing more and more people. Whether you agree with it or not is a completely different issue. That's something you're going to have to take up with your politician. But what we are seeing is more and more immigration, and those people need to live in different places, and they're not buying a house right off the get-go. So you're seeing more and more immigrants fighting for, nothing wrong with the immigrants, but there's just more demand on the limited supply. When investors look at real estate, one of the things that you want to look at are the driving factors. What are the key impacts in an area that are going to lead to your success? And that can be in any area of business. You want to know, hey, how am I going to make money in this industry with this product? Do people want it? When it comes to real estate in the US, why are people going into the US, taking money into the US and taking it into real estate is because we're seeing more and more people that are looking for rental accommodation. Why is that the case? Because in the US, you have 10 times the population that you do have up here in Canada. And that's just the people that are reported. We know that because of the immigration numbers, so there's a whole lot more people that are in the U.S. that are still also fighting for those rental accommodations. We know there is a heavy demand. On top of that, with the U.S. being the reserve currency of the world, we know that there will always be a demand, as long as that is the case, for U.S. dollars, for U.S. made, to live in the U.S., to be able to move money around throughout the world. And so as a result, you continue to have demand on U.S. rental accommodations, whether it be apartment buildings, whether it be duplexes, triplexes, whatever it is. There are always going to be more people looking to rent than there are looking to buy, and that creates an opportunity. Here's an interesting stat for you to consider, that there are twice as many Americans that can't afford to buy a home as there are Canadians in our entire country. Twice as many can't afford a house in the States than our entire population. If that doesn't scream opportunity, then I'm not sure what will. 64.8 million households cannot, out of 132 plus million households, cannot afford a $250,000 home in the US. That creates a great opportunity to be able to provide for people that are in between that spot, that are saving their down payment, that are building their family, that are working themselves towards being able to get into those first-time homes, being able to get into their own properties. And we get to help facilitate that by providing them a great place while they do that. Look, when you look at these statistics, guys, one of the things that obviously jumps out is the opportunity to make money. Absolutely. But there is something else. There's the opportunity to be a contribution. There's the opportunity to be able to meet needs for people. If we don't go and provide that type of accommodation, what are people left with? Here are tons and tons, millions of middle-class Americans that are looking for quality accommodations. And we get to meet that. You get to make money, yes, and you get to be a contribution. You get to provide for people. And to me, it's not just about making money, but it is important about how you do it. There are opportunities to be a win-win-win where everyone is able to enjoy as we build together. Yes, you can have secured investments. Yes, you can have great returns. Yes, you can provide great accommodations for people who are looking to work hard, build their own wealth, and eventually get into a home of their own. But in the meantime, you get to provide them with a great place to live, and you get to know that you are making a difference in this sector with your money.